Denny Hamlin has shared what happened between him and Ty Gibbs in the NASCAR Cup Series race at Loudon this past Sunday. Roll this up over at stockcarreport.com. You can find the link in the description below. If you don't know what happened, here is a replay. You can see here that they were battling for position, I think 11th or 12th in the middle of stage 2, about 70 laps still to go. They were on lap 39 of 115, 109 out of 301 in the total race. And they were battling really, really hard here for just outside the top 10 position. Ty Gibbs obviously in the 54, Denny Hamlin in the 11, and then Christopher Bell's there in the 20.
Some frustration out of the veteran driver, hoping his younger teammate may concede between him and Bell being stuck behind him, racing for a championship. I'm on either side of this. I think if we were inside the top 5, I would side with Ty Gibbs and say, yeah, man, I'm racing. I'm out here racing as hard as I can. But I will.
So you can see Denny obviously is getting frustrated. You kind of heard that from the radio there as well. And then in this corner here, he obviously drives him up the track.
For 11th and 12th, right there, you would think, I think we should show this on camera for the next few laps, because I'm not sure they're done. I think they're very frustrated with one another. Oh, here we go. Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Yes, sir. Gibbs goes around. Yellow.
So there you go. That is what happened. I obviously think Ty did not like the way that Denny drove him there, driving him up the track. He then kind of came down, trying to maybe take the air off of Hamlin's car. Hamlin wasn't having any of that, had obviously been frustrated for a number of laps with Gibbs and said no, and gave him the bumper, sent him around, and ended his day. I think he had a broken toe link. As far as what Hamlin had to say, he discussed the incident on his podcast, Actions Detrimental, and he said, "We just were racing really too hard, and what in my mind was entirely too hard." He continued saying, "I agree that everyone should race to win the race. However, we're not racing to win the race. We're racing at the time for 11th place. We're battling me, the 20, the 19, and scratching and clawing to get some stage points, which is going to be life or death for us. It's our air that we need to move on. I felt as though a little bit wronged in the sense of my teammate out of the playoffs should not be the hardest car on the track to pass." He went on to note that Ross Chastain had actually let him by early in the race. Then Hamlin said, "This is the racecraft that I feel like is missing," obviously referring to Ty Gibbs there, that understanding the situation. "And certainly I felt as though this thing is hard enough to win anyways, but if you're going to race your teammates harder than anyone on the racetrack, then this will be really, really tough for any one of us to win." Hamlin went on to reveal that at Joe Gibbs Racing that non-playoff cars have been instructed to provide breaks to teammates if possible, especially during the playoffs, and obviously it would be during the playoffs, right, because it's non-playoff cars. Anyways, he went on and said, he also relayed that because Gibbs was not giving him this break, it caused him to get more upset than if it was a non-teammate. Speaking specifically to the contact, Hamlin said this: "I was pretty much there into turn 1, and then he moved down to the middle lane to cut the nose off to make me get really, if you cut across someone's nose, especially if they're running close to you, it'll make their car kind of lift up and take off. So I think he was just trying to cut across my nose to make me lose air, just to further aero block me. And I was so close to him that I was like, hell no, you're not going to do that." And so, yeah, I tried to shove him up to the next lane to get my position, and unfortunately, it spun him out. I'm not really buying that. I don't think he tried to shove him up to the next lane. I think he intentionally kind of gave him that tap there, knew that would spin him around, and sent him around. However, he was specifically asked what he would say to people who believe he intentionally wrecked Gibbs, which is my opinion. And he said, "We were making contact when he pulled down to the middle lane in front of me. We were already together. Like, it took nothing. And no, I wish I was that good. If that was the case, then I wouldn't have wrecked Chase Elliott when I tried to move him up the racetrack back in 2017. It all depends on what point of the racetrack you're at, loads of the cars. There's just lots of variables on whether you hit someone at a point where their car is already on edge or not." And I think he kind of referenced something that happened maybe last week where someone got a shot right in the back square of the bumper, and obviously that didn't spin them out. But in the corner where they were, I mean, obviously Gibbs did come down to try to block him. Hamlin admits that he was already kind of pissed off. He admits here saying, hell no, you're not going to do that. Hard for me to believe that he did not try to do that intentionally after getting extraordinarily frustrated. And I think he did. I think he went and was going to make sure that he was done with Ty Gibbs for the rest of the day. But that is what Hamlin had to say. I'm not really buying it. I do think that he did it intentionally wreck him. But that is what Hamlin said about the wreck. There's a bunch of other stuff he talked about in the podcast as well. He was profuse that he wanted Joe Gibbs Racing leadership to actually step in and provide some leadership, some instruction on how non-playoff cars should race against playoff cars moving forward. If it is kind of anyone takes all, or as he was saying, as they had previously been instructed, if non-playoff cars should kind of cut their teammates a break. And he was also pretty adamant that that's just how the game works now. If you're a non-playoff car and you have a teammate who's a playoff car, you're typically going to try to cut them a break, maybe move over, not race them as hard, let them get past you to get those extra points, especially when those stage points are on the line and they can determine whether or not you move on to the next stage or not. But lots of stuff to unpack here, but I obviously think Denny kind of took him out on purpose because he was frustrated and had been racing him pretty hard for a number of laps. And I think he said he also had watched him race Christopher Bell quite hard as well for a number of laps. And he just was just kind of fed up with the way that Ty Gibbs was racing him and his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below.